people, and welcome to my channel. Thank you all for being here. Hi, Jill. Jill Caperton is in the house. So good to have you here. And I'm glad for everyone else who has tuned in. So if you're new here, I'm Jennifer Diamond. I'm a certified plant-based nutrition coach, living a whole food, plant-based lifestyle for health and well-being. Living this way literally gave me my life back after suffering through so many different illnesses and diseases, including being bedridden for 14 months. So I truly believe it can help you too. And that's why I'm here for you and with you today. So today I wanted to share my update on my osteoporosis diagnosis and about like if the weighted vest and compounding weighted exercises are working for me. But I also wanted to share about what is osteoporosis, because maybe you're new and you don't even know what that is, and that would be super lucky. I also want to share the difference between osteoporosis and osteopenia, how testing works for a diagnosis, and what I've learned about medications, how I'm using a weighted vest and other resistance tools like these wrist weights and different things, the role of food in bone health, and my plan moving forward. So before we get into all of this, I do always want to let you know that I want to hear from you. I enjoy doing these lives with you, and part of that is having you live in the chat. So if you're here live, please leave your questions or your comments in the chat. And if you're watching this as a replay, please feel free also to comment in the chat under the replay, and then I will respond as soon as I can. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button if you enjoy the content I put out. And if you want more information, including discounts on products that I love or coaching, or to sign up for my newsletter, then just go to thejenniferdiamond.com. And if you're already subscribed, then I just want to take a quick second to thank you so very much. I really appreciate your support. Okay. I also want to, well, I just want to stop for a second, and I want to just see, hey, hello, Nan. Nan is here, and Mona. Hi, Mona, and everybody else that's here, even if you haven't put something in the chat. I do appreciate it, and I want to say hi to everyone. Okay, another thing that's really important for me to mention right off the bat is that I am not a medical doctor. I don't have any formal medical training or education. So this is not medical advice. I'm only sharing what I already know or understand or have experienced on my own personal journey to bring awareness to you. And just, you know, maybe just to share what works, what doesn't, and just kind of help each other out. So please, 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 please always seek your information and guidance from your trusted medical professional or provider. You know, so if you have any questions or concerns or symptoms of osteopenia, osteoporosis, or any other conditions, then go to that doctor, because both you and your doctor know your personal case, and then you're the best to advise on you, right? Okay, I usually like to start with a question. So how about, who is currently diagnosed with osteoporosis and who is just concerned about it? Let me know in the chat. You know, maybe you could just even share, I don't even have it, I don't know what it is, like anything about it. I would love to hear. Put your comments in the chat here, and we're going to talk about what osteoporosis is while we're waiting to see. So I want to take a quick minute and show you a picture here while I talk, okay? So you should be able to see a photo, and this is a photo of osteoporosis bone, you can see. And I just want to talk a little bit about this. So there's a whole T-score scale thing that we're going to get into, but osteoporosis literally means porous bone. And that's what you could actually see under a microscope. So the word combines osteo, which that's what the meaning bone is, and porous, meaning porous or full of holes. Porosis, I should say. So osteo is bone, porosis is porous or full of holes. Therefore, osteoporosis describes the condition where the bones become less dense. Healthy bone is still porous, but it has a dense, tightly packed honeycomb-like structure you can see in the picture here. And when osteoporosis sets in, then you can see as it goes towards the red arrow, then it becomes like more of these honeycomb spaces, these that grow larger, and then the thin walls in between the spaces of that honeycomb become even thinner. And then that is what makes the bone weak or fragile. So now, our bones aren't static. They're not. They're living tissue, and it's constantly being built, broke down, and rebuilt. So inside your body are two important teams, and I want to talk about them in a minute. I just also want to see if anybody has shared about their thoughts on osteoporosis. Let's see. Oh, Marilyn is here. Hi, Marilyn Dubin. So nice to have you. Jill says, I am diagnosed with osteoporosis. Okay, so we are both experiencing that. And Mona says, severe degenerative disease of the spine. So that is also weakening. Yes. Okay. And you know, it's a very common thing, but it doesn't have to be. So let's just talk a minute about the two teams. I'm calling them teams. One is called osteoclasts and one is called osteoblasts. And if you're aware of this, you know, that's great. But in case you're not, or you want a refresher, I thought it would be fun to go over. And I see Koala Mama 2.0. Hello and welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, so osteoclasts are cells that are responsible for breaking down old or damaged bone cells. So they make space for the osteoblasts to create fresh new bone. So you can think of it as osteoblasts are builders, and osteoclasts are the bone's demolition crew. So blast, builders, they both have the B, class and crew, demolition. Kind of a little way to maybe think about remembering that. And just, you know, you could even think of it as class for cleaners, right? And blast for the builders. That might be a better one. Or if you have a better way to remember it, put it in the chat. I'd love to hear. And hi, John Jew. I see you are in the chat here. And welcome, welcome, welcome. So osteoclasts and osteoblasts are both always working all the time, right? And in healthy adults, this process stays in balance, right? So one is breaking down and the other is building up. But with osteoporosis, the balance tips the bone breakdown by osteoclasts because that happens faster than the bone building by the osteoblast. So over time, your bones lose the density and the strength because they're not working as partners. So the early stage before osteoporosis is called osteopenia. If you think about a traffic light where green is the healthy bone, osteopenia would be the yellow light and osteoporosis would be the red light. With osteopenia, your bone density is lower than ideal. That's basically what it is, but you're not yet in what like Western medicine considers a high fracture risk category. And if nothing changes, then osteopenia can progress to osteoporosis. In other words, if you don't do anything to stimulate and strengthen your bones, then over time it can progress, you know, down into osteoporosis. But the good news is that with the right nutrition, these are my beliefs, the right exercise and lifestyle adjustments, you can slow down or even reverse the trend. I believe it's true. So why does this happen though? Okay, osteopenia and osteoporosis are more common in women, but I want to tell you it can affect men too. You don't hear about it as much in men, but it can. And for women, the biggest trigger is the drop in estrogen that comes with menopause. Yay, another another fun time in life. At least it was for me. Not. Anyways, okay, so estrogen protects the bone by slowing the breakdown process that we were talking about. So when those levels decrease, then the bone loss accelerates. But like I said, it's not just for women. It's not just a women's health issue, because men can develop osteoporosis too, especially if testosterone levels decline, or if they have other risk factors like poor diet, lack of exercise, if they're smokers, or other certain medical conditions. So it's just interesting to know, because you don't really hear a lot about that. So one of the most dangerous things about osteoporosis is that it's often called a silent disease. Why? Because you can lose bone density for years without experiencing any symptoms. It's nothing that you could feel all of a sudden. So usually people only find out about it after they've had a minor fall that caused a fracture. And sometimes in the hip, the spine, the wrists, and fractures from osteoporosis can be life-changing, leading to pain, reduced mobility, and loss of independence, which is no fun. So it's worth noting that people don't die from osteoporosis. You can't die from the disease. The fatalities come from complications as a result of a fall or other instance where the bone fractures occur. Okay, so if you have just had that diagnosis, don't freak out. That's not a death sentence. And there are ways that we can talk about reversing it. And I'm going to share all about my stuff too. So question for you guys: how can someone find out if they're at risk for osteoporosis? Does anyone know? I mean, I'm diagnosed with it. How did I know? And, other people in the chat that have shared, Jill and Mona. So while osteoporosis and osteopenia are often talked about in the same breath, they're not exactly the same thing. So they're 2 points along the same spectrum of bone loss. Like I mentioned earlier, osteopenia is the yellow light, right? In the traffic light, and osteoporosis is the red light. But here's another way that we could think about it. So think about bone density like a bank account. Who doesn't like a bank account, especially if it's full of money, right? In your younger years, you're depositing bone, okay, in your bank account. You're building it up through nutrition, your activity level, your hormones, which are, if you're younger, probably in check. And the hormones that I'm talking about are the ones that build bone growth. So osteopenia means your account balance is dipping below optimal, right? You're not broke, but you're heading towards the dangerous zone of if withdrawals or bone loss keep outpacing deposits, which would be bone buildings. Osteoporosis, on the other hand, means your balance has gotten critically low. So your bones have lost enough density and structural integrity that they're now fragile and more likely to break. Like we just showed you the picture, because there's more space and more space in between them. It's not as strong as if the holes are a little bit more woven tightly together. Now, okay, so let's see. Okay, and that doesn't mean that you're going to have a break just because you have this. And you just have to be aware, because you become more fragile. They say it's more likely to break, and breaks can be from everyday movements like bending over. I've even heard of people having a break from sneezing, or a small tumble, of course. So, but it doesn't mean that you're at greater risk of bone fractures. So before we go into anything else, do we have any, let's talk about what people are saying in the chat. I see a few things here. Okay, yes, a body scan is what Jill said, that she knew how she found out if she was at risk for osteoporosis. Oh, a bone scan. Yes, yes. Mona, DEXA scan. Marilyn, bone density test. So everyone's aware here. And let's see, any other things? Okay, so whether you have osteopenia or osteoporosis, the difference between the two comes from what you just shared, a bone density scan, like a DEXA scan. Okay, DEXA scan, let's see if I could do this. Dual energy X-ray absorb geometry. That's the name. So that's why I just say DEXA scan. Okay, I want to take a minute. If you're not, it seems like people in the chat are familiar with the DEXA scan, but I do want to take a minute and show a photo just so you can kind of see if you're interested. Can we show that photo? Okay, so here is an image of somebody laying down. I got to tell you, yes, this picture shows her on her side. Most times you're not on your side, you're flat on your back. But I did want to show this photo because you can see the technician is in the same room. So it's not like an X-ray where you have to wear the, shield yourself and the tech has to leave and all of this. So it's just a DEXA scan is a quick non-invasive scan that you have done without ever, you can do it without even ever taking your clothes off. You don't have to change into the gown or anything. As long as you're wearing clothing without buttons or metal, that's usually what they say. And this lady, you can see, well, she even has her shoes on. Wow. The machine then calculates your bone mineral density, or your BMD, in grams, and it's measured per square centimeter. But that raw number isn't what you'll usually focus on. What instead you're going to focus on is the report that you get. And that is going to give you the two key scores, which you saw in the first picture when we looked at bone, which is the T score. And they also do a Z score. Okay, the T score is based on how your bone density compares to that of a healthy 25 or 30-year-old adult of the same sex, and the age when bones are typically at their peak of strength and density. And then the Z score compares your bone density with what's typically for someone your age, your sex, and your body size. So now this is a different image, and this is the score. They come looking different. I've had ones that look like this. I've had ones that don't. But this one is nice because you can see on one side, it actually shows the person's bone. Sometimes they show both sides. This looks like a hip. And then you can see the different colors, and it talks about, where they circled it, and that talks about the T score and the Z score. Okay, so for the T score, we'll just quickly go over this. A score of 0 means your bone density matches that ideal reference point exactly. And so every point below 0 means your bones are less dense than that healthy young adult baseline. And to be perfectly honest, I am not sure why they compare us to others that are not our age, because it doesn't seem, obviously we're not going to be the same. It's like, at any rate, that's another topic, right? I know Todd is nodding. You don't have your mic on, so I don't know if anyone can.
I have it nearby.
Oh, you do? Okay. All right, going back to this. So for the T score, the normal bone density, T score of negative, they do negative 1.0 or higher, then osteopenia would be a T score between negative 1.0 and negative 2.5. See how you're going to the bigger numbers, but it's negative, so it's really smaller, it's going further away. And then of course, osteoporosis is the T score of negative 2.5 or lower. So that's the T score. Now, let's talk about the Z score for a minute. Z scores are interpreted a little bit differently, right? They actually compare you to your age, your gender, all of your stuff to some other groups. And that makes more sense to me. So normal would be above negative 2.0. That's considered within the expected range for age. And low would be negative 2.0 or lower, considered below the expected range for age, which may suggest an underlying problem other than your normal aging. So, hopefully that was clear, you guys. I just want to make sure that if you're not familiar or you need a recap, that would be helpful. And the DEXA scans often include a color coded chart, which we just saw, where the green is for normal, yellow is for osteopenia, and the red is for osteoporosis. And not all results have that, but if you do have one, that's kind of helpful. Kind of reminded me of, when we were talking about the traffic light. So it may give fracture risk estimates, especially for hip fractures. Your provider should walk you through your numbers, but understanding the basics means that you can follow your progress over time and see if your lifestyle, your nutrition, or any medications, if that's the route you choose, are making a difference. So getting a DEXA scan can not only help diagnose osteoporosis, but it also establishes a baseline for you that you can track your changes in bone density over the years. But seeing detectable improvements can take a long time. It can take a year. I mean, I'm impressed with a year, but more, right? More, noticeable changes, they're going to take up to 2 years, depending on your individual circumstances. I know people that they don't order a scan for at least 2 years. And I've even heard if somebody doesn't have a problem, even if they're an older person, up to 10 years in between the scans, because it's not a quick fix. Bone takes time to break down and rebuild. And so it's not something that you're going to want to have to be able to see results very quickly. Okay, any questions or anything going on in the chat? Let me see. Mona says, I had an ortho doctor say, you don't fall and break a bone, your bone breaks and then you fall. Wow, interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, I guess that can happen, especially with sneezing and stuff like that. Okay, so, Koala Mama 2.0. I just started an estradiol cream and my fracture improved in 2 days and I can walk on it now. Wow. So very cool. Very, very cool. I'm glad you're healing up and that it's working for you. Thank you for sharing. So what happens when you're diagnosed with osteoporosis? Well, don't cry. It's fine. I'm not telling you how to feel, but it's okay. Okay, so when you're first diagnosed with osteoporosis, I'm going to tell you what happened to me. When I was first diagnosed with osteoporosis, my doctor had me take medication for it. I didn't even know what it was. I didn't know why we wanted a scan. I didn't get anything. And back then, I just really trusted my doctor. So I didn't really even know how to question it. But if I went back in time, now knowing what I know, for me, I would have never started medication. I would have never started there. That's me. I was 40 years old and he just said, oh, let's just see where your bone density is. This was a doctor that was trying to figure out some weird things no one could figure out. And he just threw that test in there. And so they put me on Fosamax is the brand name. I had the generic, and I think it's called Alendendrum or something like that, but I'm going to reference it as Fosamax. And I was on that for 5 years. 5 years. And what was really interesting is you take it on. I took the pill in the morning when I first woke up, sitting up. And then I sat up for a half an hour. Why? Because it had something to do, they said, if you lay down after you take it, it can burn your esophagus. Nowadays, I would have questioned that, like, what does that mean? But that's what I did at the time. And so they told me after the 5 years that I needed to take a medication holiday. Have you guys ever heard of a medication holiday? Okay, that means I can't take it for a few years again, because like 5 years was the max. So then they say, take a medication holiday for a few years, and then we can put you back on again. Well, if you're not familiar with what a drug holiday is, It's done to minimize the risk of long-term side effects associated with a particular drug use. So while taking advantage of residual therapeutic effects of the drug that remain in the bone after you stop taking it. Drug holidays are usually recommended to address concerns about rare but serious adverse effects like something called AFF, which is atypical femoral fractures. Whew. And another one called osteonecrosis of the jaw, or ONJ. Okay, the jaw. I mean, so studies have shown that the risks of these complications, that there are risks, particularly with the AFFs, because there tends to increase the longer that you take some of the medications like Fosamax. So especially if you go beyond 5 years, you are more prone to have these complications. Doesn't that sound terrible? Just to me. All right, let's talk about my approach. Here's where I get really excited, because I believe and I know for me, movement is truly medicine in this instant, especially when it comes to bone health. Because our bones are living tissues, which we talked about earlier, and they respond directly to the stresses that we put on them. So when you apply healthy stress to your bones through impact, resistance, weights, then you are activating the cells responsible for building stronger, denser bones. Okay, so, if you're just sitting around, your body is not going to get a signal that they need to do anything to build bone. But if you're doing these other things, then it's going to be like, okay, we need to get on it. So for me personally, using a weighted vest has been the way that I decided to go. And adding even a little extra weight while you're walking, doing lunging or climbing stairs, those send powerful messages to your bones. Hey, we need to be stronger to handle this load, right? And so that mechanical loading encourages your body to ramp up the bone formation, and it slows down the bone loss. Pretty cool. Our bodies are so smart. We should give ourselves more credit. But when I started wearing a weighted vest, it was recommended that I fill it with 5 pounds. That doesn't seem like a lot, right? So I like this. This was not the vest I first started with. This is actually my 3rd vest. But I do like the weighted vests that have weights that you can take in and out. Some of them come with like sand built in, so you can't adjust it. And so it was recommended that I put my 1 pound vest, fill it. And so it was a total of 5 pounds. So I think I had 4 pounds plus the 1 pound vest. You know what happened? I went for a walk. Halfway to the walk, where I was too far from my house, I was feeling this pulling. It was just too heavy for me. It was too heavy for me. And I felt like I was going to get injured. And so I reached out to the doctor, and we both agreed I needed to back up the truck, so to speak, and begin way, way easier. I mean, I had been bedridden for 14 months at that point, and I was super, super weak. And so just starting with an empty vest, that was the 1 pound, that was it. That was enough for me. And you know what? When you wear an empty vest, you also get used to having something on you. And you don't need to feel like anything drastic is changing. Like I said, this is going to take a long time. But then over time, I gradually, and I mean very gradually, increased my weights. Sometimes as little as a quarter or a half a pound at a time. I even have a 1/5 of a pound, but I usually was doing at that time half a pound increments, and that worked for me. And the space in the vest that I had at the time wasn't meant for those, but I had those weights from, wrist or ankle weights, the smaller ones, and I would just put those in there. So if you're thinking about trying a weighted vest, I want to just mention a few things that you can consider. and you should know first, and I know I've already said this and I say it all the time, but it's really important. So I'll say it again. Check with your doctor before doing anything new. It's just better. It's safer if everyone's on the same page from the beginning. If you get into trouble, you know, you'll have somebody on your side. And especially if you're someone that has had spine, neck, or other degenerative issues, any kind of surgeries that may or may not be something that you and your doctor are aware of. But it's okay, because if you can't wear a vest, you can wear a belt or other things, you know. Once you are cleared to wear a vest or a belt or other weights like the wrist or ankle, then I would say maybe try what I did and just use the empty vest or the, you know, these are all the weights come out. So whatever you're wearing, you can empty it. And then, like I said, just add a half a pound or a fifth of a pound or whatever you have, and do those small increments, which is what I did. And when it was enough to stimulate, it'll be enough to stimulate your bones without overwhelming the body. And I did not have any injuries, thank goodness, because I listened right away and I knew it was too much when I first started. And then I gradually added more weights as my strength and comfort improved. Now, for me, I started to increase my weights as I felt I was ready, not because I assigned a date or a certain amount of time that worked for me. So I didn't say every Thursday I'm going to up it. No. Sometimes it was a week, sometimes it was 4 months. It was just how I felt. So those are good things that have worked for me that might work for you. Another thing is maintain good posture. Oh my gosh, it is so important. You do not want to be wearing a weighted vest, for example, and sitting in a chair or doing something and finding that you're rounding your back, because now all you're doing is causing more problems. You want to have good posture, keep your shoulders back, engage your core. We always want that, you know, a nice core. And because the core is the base that holds everything up. And hold your head up, you guys. Everyone's always looking on the phone. Put the phone this way if you must, or just look up at the sky. And this helps distribute the weight evenly and reduces risks of strain and injury. Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick tip here. I recently was told by one of my whole food plant-based medical doctors to adjust my posture since I wear the vest so much by doing things like this. So I want to show you. So if you are wearing it and you want to adjust, just, it's kind of a check. Is my posture up? Maybe you don't have a mirror to check. So raise your arms all the way up, and hopefully you can raise your arms up, because a lot of times people can't. Raise your arms all the way up and really feel like, okay, everything is straight now. I'm looking up a little bit, and then keep everything the same except putting your arms down. Now you are standing straight. And it really is a great way to adjust your shoulders, and then, you know, it's easy to do. You could do it pretty much anywhere, maybe not if you're driving. Okay. If you're going to wear a weighted vest over a weighted belt or ankle weights or whatever, just make sure that the vest is fitting you snugly. So you want to spread the weights. If they're removable weights like these, you want to spread them evenly across your torso and make sure that it doesn't bounce or shift as you move. And that way your bones get consistent mechanical stress without unnecessarily feeling any kind of jolts, right? But weighted vests, I got to tell you, they're great. I'm so happy with mine, but they're just one piece of the puzzle, one piece in the toolbox. So before we go any further, are there anything? Nope. Okay. Todd says, nope, keep going. All right. So weight-bearing compounding exercises are my other secret that I'm sharing with you. And they, I believe, are one of the most important pieces here. So I like to walk. You need to walk around with the extra weight, right? So when I first started, I was actually stomping as I was walking to increase the impact even more. So yeah, the dog was like looking at me, you know, because he was walking a little in front. And I would just, you know, instead of just walking, I was stomping, and I wasn't doing it the entire time, but that impact I really believed would help me. And I believe it still to this day. I also incorporated other things like resistant tools. I have a rebounder. So I rebound, right? That's not bone building, but that is a tool that I use. Some people wear their weighted vest on the rebounder. I get a little nervous about that. I have done it, but I wouldn't do it, all the time. What other things that are really great? Dumbbells, the hand weights, resistant bands. If you're traveling or, bands are fantastic. Anything that is going to offer some kind of impact. Swimming is great for cardio, not for bone building. So you have to think about what your exercise is and try to figure out if that's for the goal that you're setting out to heal or improve. Okay, so these allow me to challenge my muscles when I do those kinds of things. And it also challenges the bone in different ways, because the muscle, we want to improve the muscle. What's the muscle attached to? The bone. So that's basically what we want to do. So I don't wear the vest while I'm doing a lot of these exercises, including my daily push-ups. And I don't do them every single day. Every once in a while I need to skip a day, but I try as close as I can. Because why would I take the vest off when I'm doing that? Because I want my form to be really good. I don't want an injury. And I wear the vest while I walk the dog. While Remy and I go for a walk, I wear it around the house. I wear it in errands. I wear it with you guys, and so on. So, I have worn it while exercising, but not usually. Anybody here have a weighted vest? And I would love to hear your thoughts on it, or maybe you're considering getting one. I'd just love to hear if anyone has had any experience with that. Leave it in the chat. Now, I mentioned compound movements. Some people might be like, what's a compound movement? Well, those are exercises that are working multiple joints and muscle groups at once. And I have found that that is so key for me for building improvement. When you exercise multiple joints and muscle groups at once, then they target the large muscle groups. Like when you do squats. Squats are fantastic for even your back, for your glutes, your booty, for your quads. And you can do them with weights. You can do them without weights, depending on where you are in your journey. Weighted lunges, when I say weighted, you don't have to do it with the weights wherever you're saying, but lunges, they're great. Leg presses, overhead presses, bent over rows, wall squats with bicep curls and push-ups, they're all great. And you feel free, if you're not comfortable or you're not familiar with these, look them up online. Just put those names in and you'll be able to watch a little video and it'll show you, what I'm talking about. Now, compound exercises, why I love them so much, they stimulate more than just the muscle. They place greater load on the bones and they create a stronger bone building signal than just the isolated exercises that target just one muscle or joint, which is still phenomenal. I'm not poo-pooing that. I'm just sharing what works for me and what I've been doing. Okay, and just like wearing a weighted vest or using weights as part of a workout, you don't have to start by doing 100 push-ups all at once. Just when I first started doing push-ups, for example, I was doing them against a wall. And you may have heard me share that before. I was standing up almost like not quite against the wall, but I was hardly leaning. And I was just doing this. And slowly, until I was down on a counter, until I was down, on a lower platform on my knees, and eventually to the floor. It's a progression, you guys. So eventually you get to the point where I am today, which is I am able to say that I can do them on the floor. Today I'm doing 100 push-ups almost every day. I do about a set of about 25 or 30 on a regular basis. Then I take a short break. I do not do them in a row. I get tired. So I take the short break, then I do another set, right? Then I take another break, and then hopefully I'll just be able to finish. But sometimes I might need to do it in 4, but I do accomplish it. So the more bone loading movements you can do safely and consistently, the better. And remember, it's not about going heavy too fast or risking injury. It's about building up your strength and resilience over time. Consistency, I swear it's the key. Your bones will thank you. All right. If you don't know how to do the exercises, hire a trainer. Get somebody to teach you how to do them correctly. Make it safe for you. The worst thing is to do something you don't understand and then get injured. Then what? Then you have to wait till your injury is healed. It's like backwards. So exercise and putting stress on your bones is important to improve your bone density and your strength, but it's also not a replacement for, anybody have a guess? Proper nutrition. Yep. So here's a question then. Are there specific plant-based foods that are especially good for bone building, for building strong bones? What do you think? Look at these. Let me know in the chat, you guys, what do you think? So just like the construction site, like any construction site, your body needs the right raw materials to keep that rebuilding process strong and efficient. And that means every single day giving your bones a variety of nutrients. And it's not just calcium, like the dairy industry would like you to believe, or what I have been told by my Western medical professional at times. So let's take a minute and talk about calcium. Because that's probably the one that we all think about first, and for good reason. Anybody? Yep, okay. Calcium makes up a major part of your bone structure. Some of the best plant-based sources are leafy greens, like this guy right here. Anyone know what this is? I'm going to pull it out. Bok choy, you guys, bok choy, collard greens, kale, which I've got in here. I don't have any collards today, as well as beans. We have lentils and almonds. Where are my, I put them away. Okay, well, almonds and tofu and tempeh. I've got tempeh here too. So in fact, some of these options like the collard greens, they actually have higher calcium absorption rates than any cow's milk. Yeah, it's really true. So your body will actually absorb about 50 to 60% of the calcium from the collard greens and only 30 to 35% if you are ingesting it through cow's milk. Now, of course, this is an average, right? You know, sometimes you need to add like some citrus or something to help with the absorption. And there's nothing else that you're going to get. Whereas if you have it through cow's milk, there's a lot of other things like, you know, that can cause other problems with cholesterol and so forth. So your body actually ends up getting more usable calcium from the collard greens because of the absorption rate being much higher. So that means your body's going to get 135 to 160 milligrams of the usable calcium from a cup of collard greens. Whereas if you have the same cup of the cow's milk, I understand it would be like 90 to, what'd you say, 105 milligrams? Yeah. So even though the milk looks higher on paper, it gets a lot more attention from big advertising budgets. But cooked collard greens can deliver up to 50% more usable calcium. And there's no cholesterol, no saturated fats, no antibiotics, no potential inflammatory proteins, and so on. There are even large-scale studies, including research published in the British Medical Journal, that have found no consistent link between higher dairy intake and lower fracture risk. Even though that's not what you hear on the commercial, right? In fact, some of the healthiest, longest living populations on Earth consume little to no dairy and have lower rates of osteoporosis. Why is that? Because they get their calcium from plants, they stay active, they get their sunlight, they avoid acid forming inflammatory effects that can come with high dairy consumption. It's amazing. And then here's another thing that most people don't realize. More calcium is not better. There are several studies that we found that show that taking in excessive amounts of calcium, especially from supplements, can actually do more harm than good. Why is that? Well, that's because the calcium level in your blood can get too high. And then your body will actually pull calcium out of your bones to restore the balance in the blood, which is the exact opposite of what you want. Ugh. So a high supplemental calcium intake has also been linked to some studies to an increased risk of things like kidney stones and even hardening of the arteries. The key to aim for optimal intake is from whole food sources, not mega doses from pills. And that's, of course, my opinion based on what I believe is true. So the truth is this: you can absolutely meet all your calcium needs from plants, and by doing so, you also get the added benefit of fiber, one of my favorite things, antioxidants, and phytonutrients that the standard American diet simply doesn't provide. So your bones thrive when they're supported by a colorful, diverse, whole food, plant-based diet. So let's check the chat. Are there any specific plant-based foods that people think are especially good for bone building? Let's see. What do you have? Oh, collard greens and other cruciferous, plus I take lysine. Very cool. Koala Mama 2.0. And I see, anyone else have anything to add to that? Yeah, okay. Oh, I do see a comment here from Koala Mama also up higher. We just want to share. I'm going to recommend the vest to my mom for the winter. Too hot right now. She walks a lot every day, so that would help. Yes. And as long as, you know, I recommend that she check with the doctor, make sure everything is good. And if this particular vest is of interest to you, Todd can put a link in there, and then you can put a code that we have and get 10% off your entire order. And, you know, if this isn't one that she likes or wants, just check and see, you know, can you take the weights out? I really think that that's the way to go. So thank you for sharing that. Oh, and we've got some more here. Mangoes and papayas are good too. Yeah, so this is somebody that knows their calcium foods. And carrots. John Juice says almonds are good. Kale and spinach. Question mark. Yes, I'm going to say yes. Kale especially, we already talked about. Spinach, yes. I mean, greens in general, you can't go wrong. So those are great. But I want to just share that your bones need more than just calcium. So let's talk about a few more things, and then I'm going to share what's going on with me personally, and I also want to make something on the stove, although we are running low out of time. So what I might do is just talk a little bit. So magnesium, it's like calcium's best friend. Without enough magnesium, your body can't properly metabolize or use calcium. So great plant sources include some that we've already seen here in the chat, but this is talking about magnesium, and that would be seeds, nuts, beans, whole grains, and leafy greens. And I don't I don't do gluten. So when I say whole grains, you could do the grain-free gluten-free. Like I have buckwheat and rice and quinoa. There's all different kinds. And so here's the thing: most people don't get enough magnesium. So adding those foods daily really makes a difference for your bones, your muscles, and your system. Another one would be vitamin K2. So this is like the traffic cop for the calcium. It helps to ensure that the calcium goes where it's needed, into the bones and the teeth, and not into places that it doesn't belong, like your arteries. So for those of us eating the plant-based way, the best natural sources come from certain fermented foods like natto. And I did not bring it out here. I do have natto that I could share. And what I do, it's a powder, and I put it in my smoothies. It's a traditional Japanese fermented soybean, and I have it in a powder form. You can get it in supplements. It's great. So while K1 from leafy greens is beneficial, K2 has unique bone protective properties. Vitamin D If calcium is the building blocks, vitamin D is the key that unlocks the door for the calcium to get into the bone. So without enough vitamin D, your body can only absorb a fraction of the calcium that you eat. So you can get vitamin D naturally from sunlight. That's where we're supposed to get it from, right? Around 15 to 30 minutes, a few times a week, depending on your skin tone, where you live, the time of year it is, all of those factors you can check with your doctor and figure that out. So I like to put on my weighted vest and go outside for a walk with Remy in the morning. I like to get out and enjoy the sun during the early parts of the day between when the sun is rising and mid-morning, because the intensity of the UVB rays is lower than in the early and later afternoon when they're higher. And then that, can cause skin damage. Now, we're here in Arizona, so we really have to pay attention to the heat and the sun. The amount of time needed for the vitamin D synthesis varies depending on your skin tone. I've also been told that once you go out, don't wash your skin for 20 minutes. Let it absorb, right? I know some dermatologists say that people with a darker skin pigmentation may need more sun exposure than those with the lighter skin. And so there's a lot of things to take into account. Then there's protein. Yes, I said the dirty word, protein. Protein is important, you guys. Protein is like the building blocks on the frame of the house to your bones. So calcium comes in, it fills that frame to make your bones hard and strong, but without the frame, the calcium has nothing to hold on to. And that means without enough protein, your bones become more brittle. So lentils, beans, tofu, tempeh, quinoa, all other plant-based proteins are excellent options to help maintain a strong bone framework. Now, I personally believe my blood work is my leader. So if my levels show low or high, then I'll talk to my doctor and decide what I might want to do about anything that may need to be adjusted. And I think that that's true for anyone. You could really use that to gauge, it's like a snapshot to kind of see where you are. All right. You guys have been patient. I've been taking a long time rattling, but I would like to share about the results of my DEXA scan. I just had a DEXA scan recently, and while my T-scores aren't where I want them to be to get back to osteopenia from osteoporosis, I am proud to say that they are improving. So before I share all the details, I just wanted to ask you, what type of exercise are most effective for keeping bones strong? Anybody know? We kind of talked about it. I'd love to share your results in the chat. All right. So I have a paper here. It doesn't have the pretty chart this time, and it does. I went on the DEXA scan. They did 3 pictures. So they did my lumbar spine, which is this part here, L1 and through L4. They did my left side of my femoral neck, this is the right side, so the left side. And then they also did my left hip, okay? And so what I want to share is that last time I had it was only a little over a year ago. I was going to wait for the 2-year mark, but I have been getting a lot of people that ask me all the time, is the vest working? Is it working? Is it working? And I'm like, I think it's working because I feel strong, but I went ahead and got this scan. I feel like kind of early, and it shows it's working. So that's so great. Okay, so for example, some of the results are not big movements, but like we talked about, it takes a long time. But I did have a big one too. Okay, so here we go. Lumbar spine, right? I wear more weight here. Lumbar spine. Last time my T-score was negative. It was a bad one, negative 4.4. That's way osteoporosis. This time it's negative 4.1. Doesn't seem like a lot, but I want to tell you what they wrote on here. They wrote, there is a significant increase of 6.5% from the previous scan. Now, that is huge. I don't even know if medications that have all these side effects can give you that much of a percentage change with that short amount of time. So I spoke with my doctors, and everybody is over the moon excited and very impressed with that short window of time having it do that. And I am not taking any medications. I'm eating the plants, I'm doing the weights, I'm walking, and I'm doing everything that we talked about with the sun and everything else. Now, the, yeah, so yay! I'm really excited to share that with everyone. And thank you all for the excitement with me. And so I share this because I want you to know you can do it too. We can do it together. It's just being consistent and follow your instincts. I didn't want to start with medication. I wanted to start with something that was crazy, like a weighted vest and some greens, and it's working. Okay, next one is the left femoral neck. Not a big change. My T-score was negative 3.2. Now it's negative 3.0. A small, but direction going the right way. And so I'm really, really excited about that. And then the last one they did was the left hip. And I originally had a negative 3.0. And this time, negative 2.9. So if I wait another year or two and I have big jumps again, then I know I'm going to get into the osteopenia section where I believe I'm supposed to be. I believe that that's correct. And I am so excited to share that. And please, anybody that, has any results like that or feels any improvement, share it with me, or just let me know how that makes you feel about it. So I want to share one other thing here. I've slowly been adding more weight to my weighted vest, right? Just a half a pound at a time, like I showed you or talked about, until I got to 10 pounds. So I've had my vest at the 10-pound mark now for many months because I had been told that a person should only wear 10% of their body weight and no more because it can cause damage of some sort, Okay, so this time my doctor at True North Health Center told me he didn't believe that to be true. And he gave me the green light to continue to add weight to my vest as I felt or feel ready. So you guys, today I am going to add another half a pound to this vest. And I was going to do it with you, but I think I'm going to just put it somewhere in the back. And if it seems to be enough, then I'm going to stop there. And if not, then I'll add the other half, which will bring me to a total of 11 pounds. Now, I'm going to continue to gradually increase the weights because my doctor said it's safe for me until I feel that I've reached what I'm comfortable with or until the vest is full. So this vest, I really like also. My last vest held 10 pounds. This one goes up to 15. And they have a male version or another one that anyone can wear. I'm sure it goes up to 18. And so I'm super excited to increase it. And I'm not going to be in a big hurry to continue to increase it. I'm going to put it in there for a few months. This little increment, these little steps make such a big deal. And they just really work great. So this way, my body's going to have time to adjust. I'm not going to overload my joints or my muscles. And then I can also use these wrist weights. I can put ankle weights on, and I can even wear my weighted belt as well, which I don't have on right now. I enjoy several other hip exercises, and I have been trying to incorporate those more on a regular basis. And I'm going to focus on those because I know they work, because it's working for me. I know it's something that is going to continue, and I know it can work for you. I know it can, and I'm happy to share more about my vest if you're not familiar with it, and I think we already kind of did. Did you put that in the chat? Okay, and I just want to share that I did 2 recent videos, one with the founder of WeightFit, Maya Susi, and she answered all kinds of questions. If you haven't seen that one, check it out. I also she also designed the vest and everything, but I also did another one where I was just sharing about my experience wearing it. If you wanted to check out, it's just my raw opinion on having it on for a week. Okay. So they have other products and everything that you can check into if you want to. All right. Another thing I'm doing, I am also mixing in more bone building exercises. So that means I'm stepping things up, you guys, literally with step ups, hopping in a few, jumping jacks, doing lunges, doing squats, using resistant bands, and of course the dumbbells, which I love. And I'm also targeting, like I said, more hip exercises as well, because the goal is to keep challenging my bones so they continue to get the message. We need to be strong. We need to be strong. This girl is not messing around. She wants to lift things, move things, pull things, jump around, dance in the kitchen, all those wonderful things. All right. So for food and nutrition, I'm making sure that I'm eating the right foods, the right amounts, and those foods to make sure that I'm hitting my target for calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, vitamin K2, the protein levels, all from whole plant foods as much as possible. And maybe in a couple of years, not maybe, I mean, I will. I'm going to get the DEXA scan again so that we can continue to see the real numbers on my progress. So I want to talk about, what do you eat? A few recipes that I would like to share. So I made this chia pudding. Last night I made this. It's an overnight vanilla chia pudding, okay? Chia pudding can be such an easy, helpful food to improve bone health and potentially manage or prevent osteoporosis because it's made with chia seeds. Chia seeds are rich in nutrients, vital for strong bones. Chia seeds contain a significant amount of calcium. Chia seeds are a great source of magnesium. They provide phosphorus, which works together with calcium to form these I forgot how to say that, crystals. There are certain crystals. It's a primary component that gives the bones their strength and structure. Chia seeds are a rich source of ALA. It's a type of omega-3 fatty acid, and the omega-3 fatty acids are known for their anti-inflammatory properties. I mean, it's just a win-win-win. The inflammation is a factor that can negatively impact your bone health, and it can potentially increase the risk of bone loss. So you want to keep the inflammation in the body down, and chia seeds are packed with antioxidants that combat oxidative stress. That can also contribute to bone degenerate and loss. All right, so I want to take a second and I'm just going to turn this stove on. I was going to make something I want to share with you, and it's almost done. I just want to do a couple things. We're going to taste this together in a minute, but I also want to tell you, like, what other things can you have? Bowls. Have you guys heard of bowls? Here are a few bowl ideas, okay? Get a base. Your base could be quinoa or rice. Get a protein, chickpeas, white beans, something like that. Add a veggie. Do any veggie you like. Half your cherry tomatoes, or dice up some cucumber, throw in some red onion, whatever. If you like calamari olives, throw those in there. Put some fresh parsley on it. There's a bowl right there. Super simple. Another one might be do another base, maybe brown rice this time. Add your veggies. You could do romaine lettuce, cooked sweet potato or raw, beets, carrots, like make it colorful and fun. And then you can put cilantro on top. You don't like cilantro, do parsley. Hey, you like hot stuff like Todd, add hot sauce and then make it dressing. Maybe you could do a tahini dressing or a tahini sauce or something. And the last one I want to talk about is maybe do a bowl with cooked quinoa, right? Then you can add kale, your bok choy, right? Then throw in some vegetables. You want your roasted vegetables? You like roasted? Just do it without oil, salt, and sugar. You're good. It can be done. And go ahead, roast the asparagus. Then throw on some diced cucumber. Add some diced bell pepper. Put some thinly sliced white onions if you like that, or scallion or whatever. And then top it with things that I love that are creamy and delicious, like avocado, sesame seeds. Get a little tahini drizzle. add dulse seaweed if you want. I like to do that too for iodine. And then you could dress it up also. You could use coconut aminos, fresh lemon, orange slices, grate some ginger, right? So those are some of my ideas. If you guys are into bowls, put it in the chat. Tell me what's your favorite bowl. And I am going to share with you a tofu Asian stir fry that I am sort of half making. But, well, let's see. Should we taste this now and then do the tofu, or taste all of it together, Todd? Taste it all together. He didn't really tell me. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so what I did was, let me pull out the recipe. I have, where's the recipe? Let's see. I just want to make sure. Okay, so what I did was I took some veggies here, and they are cooking right now. I'm going to tell you what's in here. Let's see. Yeah, let me show them a little better. Can you see that? Okay, and what I have in here, I'll tell you, but why I'm heating it back up is because I want to also throw in some baby broccoli. And I didn't want to do it ahead of time because broccoli doesn't take long. So I'm just going to go ahead and dump the broccoli in to this bowl and just let that do its thing. I'm going to mix it. All right, so let me go back to my recipe. What I did was I used some tofu. I took the tofu out, I squeezed out all the water, and we cut it into small cubes. And I added a little bit of, vegetable broth. The vegetable broth that I used, I make my own, but I also buy it. This is a no salt added. There's no oil. There's nothing in here except good, yummy stuff. So I added a little bit of that onto the cut tofu, and then a little black pepper, and I tossed it, and I went ahead and baked it in the oven. And here it is, ready to go. I'm going to take it out. I want to show it to you. Okay, and I cooked this on 400 degrees. Look at that. And I did it for about 25 minutes. You check your oven, do what works for you. About halfway through, I like to kind of mix it. You know, it looks like some of it is yummy. You know, a little, crunchier than the others. And so you decide how much you want to cook it. And then I just had it sit in there kind of on this side. Okay, so let that sit there. I snuck a little bite. Okay, so let me see where that, let's see. Yep. Now, what we did was we took the vegetables in the stir fry and we did a red bell pepper, an orange bell pepper. I used some, just a white onion. You can use any onion. And then we put in 3 cloves of garlic, 2 tablespoons of ginger, fresh ginger that I minced. If you don't have fresh, you can use the dried, that's fine. And then the 3 cups of broccoli, or I just used the whole head. I didn't even measure it. Okay, and so that's what's in here. And then I'm just going to let that cook for another minute while I tell you about the sauce. So I made a sauce, and actually Todd helped me with this sauce. I was very impressed and proud of him. And the sauce, here's the sauce, what it looks like. It's very watery right now, but it's going to thicken up in the pan once the broccoli is ready. And what I have there is a half a cup of water, 5 tablespoons of liquid amino, 1 tablespoon more of water, 2 tablespoons of, you can use a plum vinegar or any kind of vinegar, or you can skip that part. 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. You don't want maple syrup? Try date syrup. That would work. It's just a nice sweetener. And then I added a 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper. It's dried. You don't have to do that, but we like a little kick. If you're into sriracha or any other kind of hot sauce, you can always add that in there. And then we also had a tablespoon of fresh ginger and a thickener, which is arrowroot powder. And I put a tablespoon of that in there. So we have that all mixed in here. And then basically what we're going to do is, woo, look at that. That looks good. The thing that I really enjoy, not this one, about doing this with you guys let's see, where can I show this? Is you see how bright now the broccoli is? So it doesn't need that much time to cook. That was hardly anything. Look at it, isn't that beautiful? This is bone building food, you guys. So what I'm gonna do now is just take the sauce, and you could do this in a separate container. I don't want more dishes. So I'm just gonna pour it right on top, the whole thing. Okay, I still did not add my tofu. You don't want tofu, you can add beans, you can add tempeh, you can add something else. I just liked the tofu, so I wanted to do that. And now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna cook this, and because of the arrowroot powder, it should thicken in a few minutes, and that's it. And then it'll be ready, and we're gonna put a few things on top. We're gonna do some tasting, and then you have an idea of some super delicious food that you can have that is going to help build your bones. So I'm just gonna let this cook for a minute. We also went ahead and did quinoa this time. Now you can do rice. You could do quinoa. I like doing quinoa because it adds more nutrients than rice, but whatever grain you want to do it. That's the one to do. And so just have a few minutes of that. Let's see. Why don't you come over here? We'll taste this, and then we'll plate the other thing and see if there's any other questions, and then we can head out. I also just yeah, let's start there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, honey.
Hi, honey. Hi.
Oh my gosh. So Karen is in the house.
Yes,
Hi,
she is.
Karen. Oh, back from PT eagerly
Lisa's here as
to
well.
watch. Oh, Lisa's here. Oh, I do bowls with quinoa, refried beans, salsa, tomato, and greens. Oh, doesn't that sound good?
It does.
We should do that. Lisa,
Let's
come
do
on over. Let's make that together. All right, so let me get another spoon. I know you like the big spoon.
I do. I like the adult size spoons.
Okay, you, let's see. I'll pour some in here.
Okay.
I actually put it all in this container, mix it up, and it's ready to go. We didn't go over what this was, but I can share the recipe for this. Did I share the recipe for this? I don't think I did.
I don't know that you did.
No, and I can.
But you should.
So go ahead and taste that. I'm just going to check. This is all
Okay.
nice and thick. I'm going to turn this off.
Mm-hmm.
And
Uh-huh.
share what the flavors are. Share, share, share. This is looking great. Oh my gosh. I want to taste it too.
It's super. It's really good. It's creamy and sweet
Let's see.
without being like sugary sweet.
Mm.
It's really good.
Oh my
It's got
gosh.
good texture. Fantastic.
So yeah. So I'm just going to see if I can use this mouse over here and just, okay. So this is what it is. It's the overnight vanilla chia pudding. We did
Wonderful.
a cup of, thank you.
You're
Thank you. We're going to have that now in a minute. I just want to
have this
share. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. So a cup of unsweetened soy milk. You can use any plant milk. I used soy milk. I put it in this container. And this is why what worked for me. You don't have to have a container, but I like a container with a lid. And then what I did was I added to the milk 2.5 tablespoons of chia seeds, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and a half a teaspoon of vanilla bean powder. We did this. We did this. And I stuck it in the refrigerator for about 4 hours. And then after that, it was the end of the day. It was yesterday. I went ahead and stirred it, shook it up, and then stuck it in overnight. And here it is, ready to go. So that's how you make that. It's an amazing thing.
Wonderful.
So share the flavors. I'm going to plate this for
Share
us.
the flavors. The flavors are fantastic. It helps if you do this while you're shaking it.
Okay.
Maybe.
Maybe. So I made the quinoa in the Instant Pot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you help yourself to that. Do you want to share one bowl or you want your own of this?
I'm going to eat the whole thing.
No, I mean of this.
Oh, I might eat the whole thing of that too.
Oh, so I'll make you your own right now?
We can share for now.
Oh, share for now?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm just reserving the right to come back for seconds.
Okay, so you can show everybody the quinoa.
All right.
And then
Quinoa.
I want to show this when you're done.
In case you've never seen quinoa.
Quinoa. And then here it is. Look it's already nice and thick, if you can tell.
It smells wonderful.
Doesn't it smell good?
It smells super good.
Okay, and then what you can do is You can add the tofu as you need. If you add it now and you want to eat the whole thing, that's great. But if not, it won't keep its firmness. Yeah. So I think what we'll do is, I'm just going to do this so people can see what we're doing here. And let's just add it right into the bowl and mix it right into the bowl.
All right.
Look at that, you guys. Okay.
Looks great.
Doesn't that look good?
Smells
Okay.
amazing.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and do you see it's nice and thick? This spoon is not gonna work. We need a real spoon here. Let's do a ladle. Is that a real spoon? Let's do a ladle. Let's really get crazy here.
Wow.
All right, look at this. Look at this, you guys.
Mhm.
No deprivation here. Oh my gosh. All right. And now I'm going to put this aside. Let me add the tofu.
This is the fun part.
This is the fun part. I'm going to add the tofu. You're going to mix it, okay? Do a little mixing. Huh? Whoops. Do a little mixing, and then we'll top it and taste it.
Okay.
And then we'll prep.
And just mix.
Yeah, just mix it, so that you're coating the tofu with the sauce that we just put together.
Chia pudding spoon.
Well, it's just you and I, but yes, if we were having company, I would encourage you to do something different. So, you can mix it and not mix the
quinoa.
The quinoa, kind of mix that separately. It doesn't matter. Whatever makes you feel good.
It's all going in the same
Mona
place.
says, I wish I could taste it. You can make the recipe. It's easy if you're talking about the chia, and this one we're about to do too. Okay, so then what you want to do is you want to take some cilantro, and I actually like to mix it up. So I'm not cooking it, so I want to mix it up. Frankly, I think maybe next time what I would do is I would do this mix in one container and then pour it onto the quinoa. But we're mixing the whole thing, and that's fine. And then what is this?
Onion.
What kind?
Little green onion.
Scallion.
That's what I said.
So you can stop mixing it. Okay. Great job. We're going to put some scallions. And then last thing is do you know what these are?
Sesame seeds.
Yep.
White ones.
Yep. White sesame seeds. You don't have to do sesame seeds. And what are these?
Black ones.
Black sesame seeds. So we're going to do both white and black.
I'm getting good at this game.
And there we go. So let's taste this.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm going to taste this too. Here we go, everyone. Let's see what he says. And this is a guy who doesn't like eating broccoli. And there's mushrooms in here.
Mm-hmm.
That was something else that I didn't share. We put mushrooms in here. Mmm.
Mm-hmm.
Mmm.
That's super good. Apple sugar.
Oh my God. Hi, Apple. Oh my God. I'm so glad we ran over and then you were able to come in. This is good. Now I've tasted a little kick. I'm not a big spice person, but I do taste a little kick. You love spice. So for you, can you taste any spice or no?
Oh, yeah. I personally, no, I got it. So it's a nice balance.
It's a nice balance. I just want to see what's going on here.
It's not hot for the sake of being hot.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to put you over here so you can continue to eat. And I just want to say, just in closing, the biggest thing to remember is that building bone density and strength, it's a long-term effort, you guys. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, but I know I'm on the path where year by year, I can keep improving. And so if you're dealing with bone loss or you're trying to improve it, the same approach can work for you. I promise. Slow and steady and consistent wins the race. And I guess Todd has left the house. So if you remember one thing from today, let it be that osteoporosis isn't forever. It can be improved. It can be brought back to osteopenia. We could do it together. Your bones are alive and they respond to what you do every single day and what you don't do as well. And with the right movements and exercise and nourishing beautiful foods and a little patience and consistency, you can slow your bone loss. Stop it right in its tracks like I'm trying to do, and even rebuild some of the strength that you've lost. I know you can do it. We can do it together. Come on, grab your exercise, grab your weights, grab whatever you have, and get moving, because weighted exercises, resistance training, and movement that puts healthy stress on your bones are your secret weapons, along with the plants, the whole food plant-based diet that's rich in all the things we talked about, which are calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, vitamin K2, plant-based proteins, and so on. So together, you've got a powerful natural toolkit for protection and strengthening your bones, all without relying on medications, dairy, or any processed foods. So also remember, this is not about perfection, because that would be bad for me. It's about progress, and that's good for me, and it's good for you too. So just remember that every walk we take with a little extra weight, or every plant-based meal we eat that's packed with bone-building nutrients, and every stretch or squat we do or push-up we do will make change in the right direction. We can do it. You can do it. So my future self and your future self will thank us for the choices that we're making today. So let's continue to take care of our bones like our life depends on it, because in so many ways, I believe it does. It really does. So if you found this to be helpful, please be sure to like the video, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. And I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below if you found this helpful. Maybe share something that you're doing or that you're going to do this week for your bone health. I would love to hear about it. And thank you for hanging in there with me. I know lately we've been going over. It's just I have so much to share, and I just appreciate your time. So take care of yourself, keep moving, and keep shining. Just know you've got this, and I'm cheering you on every step of the way. So until next time, everyone, don't forget to eat your greens and give plants a chance. Take care. We'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.